大家好，我係嘉里。今條影片就會同大家一齊嚟睇下美國財長貝森特喺白宮亂局之後所做嘅訪問，內容最主要都係圍繞住美國同埋烏克蘭嘅稀土礦產協議。因為呢一份協議嘅內容呢，就係由財政部擬定嘅。咁有好多人都批評 Donald Trump 又想拎人哋國家嘅資源，又唔提供安全承諾，甚至有啲人講到呢一份協議呢，就好似第一次世界大戰之後列強同德國簽訂嘅凡爾賽條約。咁但係烏克蘭呢，作為受害者，反而呢就要被瓜分資源。而貝森特就強調啊，呢一份協議呢就唔係掠奪，而係兩國之間嘅合作開發。如果烏克蘭冇任何得益嘅話，美國亦都唔會有任何嘅好處。而呢一份協議呢，其實就意味住美國同埋烏克蘭有經濟利益嘅聯繫，就可以間接咁樣提供軍事安全。而貝森特呢，亦都透露咗烏克蘭總統澤連斯基曾經喺德國慕尼黑安全會議同副總統 J.D. Vance 同埋魯比奧咁樣吵鬧過，但係佢就完全冇諗過最終呢都會演變成為喺白宮嘅鬧劇。今次外交失誤啊，後續嘅影響呢係非常之大，亦都令到雙方幕僚之前嘅工作呢係前功盡廢，包括英國首相同埋法國總統呢之前亦都先後到訪白宮等等。而最新消息呢，就由彭博報道 ，Donald Trump 呢就已經暫停對烏克蘭嘅所有軍事援助，包括所有唔喺烏克蘭境內嘅軍事裝備將會被暫停，例如運送緊過去嘅武器，又或者擺放緊喺波蘭嘅武器。一齊嚟睇下美國財長貝森特嘅訪問啦。
Bloomberg audiences worldwide, I'm David West, and I'm delighted to welcome now the U.S. Treasury Secretary. He's Mr. Scott Bessent. So, Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for joining us. Ukraine is at the top of everyone's mind right now, and particularly the deal that you were the point person on as you went over to Kyiv to actually first present it. We all watched what happened in the Oval Office. I guess the simple question is, can this deal be saved?
Well, David, the question is which deal, the peace deal or the economic deal? Because clearly it's very difficult to do an economic deal with a leader who doesn't want to do a peace deal. And I will tell you, I was sitting 3 away from President Trump or President Zelenskyy, and this has to be one of the great diplomatic own goals in history.
If Mr. Zelenskyy called back right now and said, I'm sorry, I want to put it back together, what would he have to do?
I don't know. Mr. Zelenskyy and his team were taken out of the Oval, and they kept coming back with that message, and then they left the White House, and it's going to take a lot of repair. And, you know, David, the real tragedy here, maybe things can be repaired with the administration, but I don't know how the American people are going to feel. And more importantly, the economic deal, the meeting today, the real purpose was to show that there was no daylight between the Americans and the Ukrainians. So, you know, President Trump's idea was to show that with the economic deals, to show that we're more intertwined, and that would be a symbol to the Ukrainian people, to Russian leadership, and to the American people. And President Zelenskyy blew that up today. I'm not sure what he was thinking.
As I say, you were the point person, really, for the administration on the economic deal. We all thought on the outside we were very close. In fact, I think many of us thought there'd be a signing today, that we'd have some form of economic deal today. Were we as close as those on the outside thought? Were you surprised?
Again, I was shocked that President Zelenskyy would come into the Oval Office, behave like this, speak to the president, speak to the vice president, but more importantly, disrespect the American people like this. I know he's under a great deal of stress. He and I had a very heated exchange in Kyiv. I think the same thing may have happened between him and Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio in Munich. And, you know, to come in and behave like this was unacceptable. And look, I mean, what better runway did he have that President of France, Emmanuel Macron, in the Oval on Monday? Yesterday, we had a fantastic meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer from the UK, and then President Zelenskyy today. I mean, you could not have asked for a better arc And he walked in, and I'm not sure what he was thinking.
Many of us have been in heated negotiations, not at this level, but still heated negotiations where people pound the table, they may walk out the door and things like that, and it's actually part of the negotiation. Is that what we saw today, or was this a more fundamental rupture?
David, you don't do a negotiation with the President of the United States in public like this. That we were scheduled to have lunch afterwards, and that perhaps he could have brought up some of the points. Instead, he chose to let things go into a downward spiral on worldwide television. And, again, I keep coming back to the disrespect of the American people. It was one thing for President Zelenskyy and I had an extended, heated negotiation in Kyiv, but we were going to get this economic agreement done. But when you bring it out to the public like this, we'll see if there's any coming back.
If there is further negotiation, do you expect to remain the point person on the economic deal?
I expect to be the point person on the economic deal, but ultimately it's going to be up to President Trump whether he thinks that he can continue negotiating with President Zelenskyy.
What is in it for Ukraine, the economic deal? Why is it in their best interest to sign this deal?
The economic deal is a fantastic deal because if you think the U.S. is willing to co-join its economic interest with Ukraine, and like I said, a very, very strong symbol, potential for very high returns for Ukrainian people. And again, it was meant to be a very strong symbol to Russian leadership that the U.S. and Ukrainian people are more co-joined. And we have economic interest on the ground. Economic security becomes military security. The economy of Ukraine coming out of this, I thought our deal would have really been an accelerant to Ukrainian growth. I mean, you look at Poland next door, and since the Iron Curtain came down, when it came down, Poland and Ukraine had roughly the same size economies. Now Poland, before the war started, Poland's was 4 times larger. So Ukraine has a lot of potential. We'd hope to help unlock it. We'll see whether a deal can be done.
Would it be beneficial to Ukraine, though? I understand why it might benefit the United States. You've heard some people like Larry Summers said to me, this is sort of like Versailles, except that the Germans were the aggressors in World War I. These are the victims. Why should they give up natural resources? What's wrong with that argument?
Well, look, I think Professor Summers should comment on things where he has all the facts. And Versailles was debt. This is equity. We get nothing if the Ukrainian people don't get anything. It's win-win. So there is no debt component here. Many of the European loans, or much of the European aid, has come in the form of debt. Thus far, U.S. has put in grants, and this is not debt. If it were debt, the Ukrainian bonds would not have been going up on the deal. So I think Mr. Summers, Professor Summers, should maybe call me and ask for the details before commenting. Maybe it's a nice media line that it's Versailles, but it's just not the truth.